I am so excited. This is Times Square Beat with Susanna Bowling, and we are with Anthony Rapp and Adam Pascal. We're talking Rent 20 years later. Did you guys first meet on Rent, or did you know each other beforehand?
Yeah, we first met through Jonathan Larson, who wrote Rent. Actually, is the person who actually introduced Adam to me.
It was our first, the first cast conflagration of us getting together.
Yeah, Jonathan hosted a little dinner party at his apartment the night before the rehearsals began, and then he was like, "We gotta meet Adam." So that was the first, and then we started working together the next morning.
Was the chemistry instantaneously?
Pretty close, yeah.
Friendly, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, I think we all. The entire cast, we all were very inspired by each other's talents and abilities, and so I think when that happens, you immediately you immediately have one leg up with making a connection with somebody because you guys are impressed with each other's abilities.
Well, I think it's important because in a lot of shows that aren't working today on Broadway, part of the problem is the chemistry between characters.
Right.
And you guys had instantaneous chemistry.
I think for all 15 of us, there was chemistry off stage, which then carried on stage.
And Rent Nation is when it's cast with 15 really interesting people, and so everybody was very interesting, individual. Had quirks and were very much themselves. They weren't trying to fit in any sort of cookie cutter mold. So I think that's also so much a part of it too.
What was your favorite moment from working on the Broadway show and then working on the film?
To me, the most fulfilling moment of the show it's the whole chunk of Act 2, from All Cover Reprise through Halloween, through Goodbye Love, through What You Want, and because that's really for me the meat of it. I don't eat meat. It's the fullest, most intense, most meaningful section of the show.
But of your memory, what is your favorite memory of the show?
Well, on a very, very personal level, one of my favorite memories is that my mom was there on opening night, and she was ill at the time, so that was the only time she was able to see it, to come in from Illinois. And the way that the lighting was on stage, you could see very deeply into the audience, so I could see her sitting in the audience. So every once, during the show, I could look up at her, and that's something that I've carried with me for all these 20 years.
That's sweet.
Well, I can't really pick one particular memory that is my favorite, but I remember the times that we had backstage up in our dressing room, and upstairs it was me and Anthony and Jesse, and then Daphne and Idina were in the dressing room next to ours, and I just remember us all the times up in our dressing rooms having such a good time, and all the laughs that we had.
There's a lot of new composers out there now. Who would each of you like to work with?
Well, I had the great opportunity and joy of working with Tom Kitt and Brian Yorkie. I saw Dear Evan Hansen and what Benj Pasek and Justin Paul have done.
Fabulous.
Incredible. So they would be probably the next composers that I would like to work with. Yeah.
I've always been drawn to Jason Robert Brown's stuff. I would love to work on something new of his that his music has always sort of sit really well in my sensibility and in my voice, and so he's somebody that I'm a big fan of.
If you each had to choose a song that describes who you are, what would that song be?
Is there a song about quirky, smart, weird people?
My analyst told me.
I'm sorry?
My analyst told me.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. It's a hard one to.
That's a hard one to answer. To describe who you are, that's a tough one on the spot. I'm a huge fan of Billy Joel, and I think that I could probably find several Billy Joel songs that speak to, especially growing up on Long Island like Billy Joel did. I think that there's definitely a personal connection that I could find in a lot of his lyrics.
And what would you like people, your audiences, to take away from the show?
a sense of intimacy and connection that they've had with us, and a sense that they have rediscovered, that connection to Rent that they had, so many years ago.